Hello, welcome you guys. How are you this lovely evening, morning, daytime, wherever you guys are receiving this information? If we haven't met, I'm Karen Mayer Cunningham, Special Education Boss, training everyone that sits at the 504 IEP table to navigate and negotiate successful student outcomes. And so we are going to take your questions. Just put them in the chat and we'll answer as many as we can. Or we can just answer questions about how amazing my outfit looks. We could always do that. You can really never have enough pink, can you? Oh, the
Definitely not. And wouldn't it always be the same answer? They look fabulous.
Yeah, they look fabulous. Sometimes I think I look fabulous, and then I see the recording. I'm like, ooh, oh, yeah. The humidity, it's rained every day here for like a month of Sundays, which is great. We need it in hot, humid Houston. So tonight we're going to talk about all things special education. We're starting a new series in the Academy. I've narrowed it down to 2 things, so I'm not going to tell you, but it's really good. Do you have knowledge on ESL? I have knowledge of the programs that have been written by people. Do you mean the curriculum that school uses to teach that? Oh, I was like, want to learn more? Yes, you could learn more by joining us every Monday night at 8 p.m. Central in Special Education Academy. It's the best weekly professional development that you'll ever get. We do trainings in series, and then at the end of that, we open it up every Monday night for your questions. So it'd be a great place to get all of your questions answered completely. Oh, I punched a button and then something happened. Have you ever done that, Cindy?
Yes, ma'am. Many times.
Yes. Yes. And so people are asking if we have any more training. So today is June 16th. So we have one in person left this summer in the middle of, is it the 19th, 20th? 19th, 20th of July.
It is the 19th and the 20th of July.
Yes, in Melbourne, Florida, which is about an hour from Orlando. We have the 2-day on demand. And for those of you that are interested in participating in the Mastermind is, you have the prerequisite of doing the 2-day. We don't address anything from the 2-day in the Mastermind. So for those of you that want to be a full-time professional, crushing it from sea to shining she, wow, English, she to shining she, in America, if you'd like to be an amazing advocate in America, then you'll definitely want to take the Mastermind. But you have to have taken the 2-day or at least started it. So those are the prerequisites. We start the Mastermind this year, July 27th, 2025. Do we have any questions, Cindy?
We do.
Okay.
Do all teachers need to be ESL certified, or can one person push in and provide the ESL services?
Yeah, all teachers don't need to be certified. English as a second language services are identified with their specificity at your state. But often we don't even get push-in services. We just get a lot of paperwork. So, but yes, if you're ESL certified, you would oversee those students that have an IEP and that English is a second language for them.
When children go to summer school, not ESY, do they have to follow accommodations?
So summer school is sort of a broad range when people talk about summer school. So there are school districts that provide sort of a head start for little kids. There are schools that provide just a reading program over the summer. These are all optional things. And so we're not implementing an IEP. We're not implementing a 504. We're providing a general ed product to students. If you're talking about summer school, if you're talking about credit recovery, that's for a student who is in junior high or high school and they need to have some more time with their behind in the seat and to take some more content. So again, that's a general ed product. But if you have specific accommodations that you need to access to be able to participate in something in the summer that's a requirement, then we would have to deliver those, of course.
Is a change of program more or less LRE than a one-to-one assigned aid?
A change of program?
A change of program.
So a change of program is a decision of what the student needs to benefit from his IEP. So one-to-one is as you all know, not one of my favorite things, but that's for a student who, for me, if I was advocating for you, is somebody that is a harm to himself or others. But very rarely am I ever advocating for a child. Like when I say very rarely, say it with me, never. Am I advocating for a child to have a para one-on-one with them all day? It skews the data and it teaches a lot of learned dependency.
Are there a minimum amount of hours for resource room for ESY in New York?
So ESY doesn't have resource. So extended school year is a setting for students that have an IEP. So those students could have been in general ed, self-contained class, or resource. So we look at the student's IEP. We see if they met one of the two criteria. One, does the student have documented regression and with a profound amount of time to recoup a skill? Or two, are we concerned for a loss of critical skills? But they're not contingent on where we implemented the IEP during the class year.
Does the school district have to provide a resource classroom, or can they just do a co-taught?
They can commit a crime. They can be criminals. You are a criminal if you are a school district that doesn't provide 300.115 in the federal code. So under 300.115, it talks about supplementary aids and services and resource. So if you're a big enough dog in the yard to get rid of resource, you're probably going to have a problem with that because that's illegal. And part of you taking federal funds from the federal government is that you said that you would agree to meet your IDEA obligations.
How do I request testing for my child, and can I do it if they're out of school for the summer?
You can request testing at any time. I wouldn't anticipate that testing is going to begin until school starts again. So I would send an email and just simply say, this is my formal request for my son, Billy Smith, to have special education and related service testing. Areas of suspected disability are learning, attention, focus, language. I just sort of give the characteristics of it. And then I would say I look forward to coming in and signing notice and consent.
Is ABA therapy administered at a public school?
So ABA therapy is not under IDEA. So IDEA talks about special education, and then IDEA talks about related services. And so a few districts in America provide ABA or principles from ABA. And herein is the rub and the problem, right? ABA, when delivered with fidelity, is one adult with one student all day long, being reinforced over and over and over and over and over again. So I don't find a lot of occasion to find kids that need ABA full time, nor do I find that that's replicatable in a public school.
What are all the things special education boss, and how do I do them all? Is there an order that I should go in?
The order that you should go in is first certainly join the academy. That gives you really good foundation. We have hundreds and hundreds of hours of archive training in the academy when you join. And then you can look at the specific series that I train on that would be your area of need.
What is the process to change from a resource room to a self-contained room?
That's the most appropriate place to implement their IEP. So we would say that, we were in a resource room, we delivered it with fidelity, and it was unsuccessful. Now we have to consider a more supported, more restrictive setting.
Have you worked or known people in CFB ISD in Texas?
What is CFB ISD?
I think ISD, Independent School District, is there one called CFB?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. There's 200. Okay. There's 240 counties, 254 counties in the state of Texas. So tell us what the CFB stands for, and I can tell you.
Okay. Who do I send my request to have my child evaluated?
You would send it either to, if you know who the coordinator is for your campus, or if you know to who the diagnostician is at your campus, or you can always send it to the special education director.
When requesting an evaluation for my child, what should the school do once my request is given to them? I want to make sure I don't miss a step.
Yeah, so the school, once you send in your legal request, has 15 days to respond. And within that time, they will either grant the testing or they will deny the testing. Either way, they're required to provide you a prior written notice, which is a legal requirement with 7 categories on how they came to that decision.
Can you tell me again, how do I join the academy?
Yeah, just go to specialeducationacademy.com and it'll say training and it'll be called the academy. And just put your information in there and you can come and join us. There's no contract requirement. You can stay for 2 months, you can stay for 2 years, you can stay as long as you want. So there's no requirement to stay any longer than you want to, but you will love it.
What are your thoughts on using MTSS data as part of the eligibility evaluation?
So MTSS data is going to be, certainly a point that whoever's doing the evaluations, you would give them the MTSS data. How long has the student been in MTSS? How effective has it been? What core areas did he need MTSS? Was it English, math, any of those things? So that would certainly be information that you provide to the evaluators.
Do children still get accommodations once they enter junior high and high school? My son has ADHD.
Children get their accommodations if they have a 504 or an IEP and are in need of special education or a 504 service plan.
My IEP went into effect November of 2024. My child still has not had speech in place in school. School ends in 9 days. What do I do at this point?
So I would email the school district and say, my student missed 22 speech sessions at 30 minutes, and I would add up those minutes and ask them what will be their compensatory offer to remediate that.
Is a prior written notice required before an IEP meeting in New York?
A prior written notice comes at the end of a meeting. So a meeting when the school proposes or declines to do an action. So at the end of a meeting, that they would provide you a prior written notice. Even though it says prior, the reason it says prior is so that the parent can understand what's going to happen, and then it has 5 business days to see if they need to trigger another one of their procedural rights and safeguards.
If the school requests more time to complete an evaluation, should I allow that?
We want them to complete the evaluation. Certainly things happen. People get behind. I would allow it. I would want the team that's been doing the evaluation to continue. Otherwise, you can stop it at the deadline, and then whatever evaluations they've done, you can consider.
I'm assuming this person is going back to college. It says, I'm no longer in high school. I've been out for 16 years. I graduated in 2008. Would I still have qualified? And I believe they meant for accommodations.
Yeah, if you need accommodations, you would just go to the disability office at whatever higher education institute that you're at and let them know that the accommodations that you used before that were successful for your disability, and then talk about if there are any more that would be important.
Are there any reasons a school can deny my request to have my child evaluated?
Oh, there's a million reasons, love. There's a million reasons. Staff, money, they don't think your kid's that bad off. I just had a client the other day, and she went a year ago to take her nonverbal child to school. He was 3, and the speech pathologist, I wasn't her advocate at the time, or would have been a different outcome. She said, he's not that bad off. I see kids that are really bad off. So you want to make sure that you get your child evaluated for sure.
My child was placed in a behavioral school, but is not showing or demonstrating any behavioral problems. What do I do?
So I would call an IEP meeting and say he no longer meets the threshold, the criteria to be in this setting. If you're in a behavioral setting, there are certain criteria that you have to meet to be in that setting, like have behavioral needs. I just had the same situation in another state.
My child is often being sent back to regular education due to behaviors.
They're sent to general ed for behaviors for, give me a little more information.
Good question. It's VBS 102. If we get more information, it'll be for that one.
Okay.
Okay. Is it a violation of FAPE to have an uncertified SPED teacher or a non-qualified adult teach the child in place of a certified teacher, both in ESY and during the school year?
Yes, and yes, and yes. I would also say yes. Let's go with yes. It's illegal. You have to have the credentials to accept the job that was posted. And believe me, there are plenty of people in your school district, including the superintendent, board members, HR, that will say it's fine if you're not certified because it doesn't affect them. It will never affect them at all. But you're either qualified to be hired for the job that's posted or you're not qualified.
What evaluations do I need to get my child's social skills added to his IEP? He is struggling.
I don't know that you need another evaluation. We're always looking to see if we have enough data to move forward with support. So if your student is already eligible for special education and related services and you have current present levels, current needs that the teachers can pinpoint or the parents or anybody that teaches the child, we probably already have enough data to start that.
My LOs, so it's letter LO, school refused another CSE with me since I don't agree with the program change. Can they refuse?
I don't really know what all those acronyms mean, love.
Okay, that one's Mrs. Everling.
My LO, what does that mean?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
LOs. Okay, we'll see if it comes in.
Okay.
Can you discuss best practices for informing parents of their procedural safeguards?
So best practice is not a thing. It's not a real thing. It sounds good. It's kind of like the golden rule. It's people acting right. Procedural safeguards are a legal requirement that we provide to parents in IEP meetings. Oh, Danny said LO means little one. Oh, lots of people said it. Okay.
So my little one's school refuses another CSE with me since I don't agree with the program change. Can they refuse?
I still don't know what a CSE is, but if you disagree with the placement, you can always, utilize and trigger your procedural rights to file for a due process hearing by an impartial hearing officer.
What else can I do after they have not provided speech language for 2 years and I've had lots of IEP meetings?
So, you can always file a state complaint. That's only going to go back for 1 year, but I would get on that. Oh, somebody said CSE, Committee on Special Education. Ugh. And somebody said child study eval. That's the problem with acronyms. Or curly, summer, evening. I don't know. It could mean anything. But yeah, if you disagree with the placement, you can always not waive your 5 days, sign a disagreement, and file for a due process hearing.
Does a school district have to provide transportation for after-school activities for out-of-district schools?
After-school activities are contingent on if the student needs that to be able to receive FAPE. So if your child is in Cub Scouts, probably doesn't need Cub Scouts to receive FAPE. If your child is in the marching band and receive special education related services and you're going to a marching band competition, then yes. But every day to go to, after school power kids.
What should I do when the records I received from my requests were severely incomplete?
So then you can file with FERPA, right? If you believe that your records are insufficient. We've never heard of that, have we, ladies? No. All the records we get are completely full and helpful. Yep. So, you can certainly file on that. I think it's interesting that parents file for open records, and the thing that's missing are the emails from the parents. Like, we already have those. So, if you're lying a little bit in open records, go ahead and know that they're lying a lot of it. A lot of it. Is that a word? A lot of it.
It is now.
Yeah.
Can I move my child from a behavioral school myself if she does not display behavioral problems at the behavior school.
So when you say move her yourself, the school is obviously responsible for placement and placing children. I don't know what move her myself would be. If you disagree with that, you can file for mediation. You can ask for an IEP facilitator from your state to come. But bottom line is they have to meet the criteria for that placement.
My daughter was suspended for elopement after the school was warned of the behavior more than 5 times. Help?
Yeah, I would just call a meeting and say we need to have an FBA, a functional behavior assessment for my students' behaviors that are impeding her learning and the learning of others immediately. And then we need to put in some protections in her IEP so that she's not being suspended for a characteristic of her disability.
Can they use data to change a placement if that ADHD student was in the med change?
I don't think that would be responsible. Obviously, we give that information to schools so that they understand that there might be an uptick in behavior. Certainly when meds are being regulated in our little kids' bodies, we have to have grace and consideration for that. So I wouldn't assume it would cause a placement change now.
I love this name. Someone you don't know. She asks, or maybe he asks, for dyslexia, does this have to be delivered by a certified trained teacher in special reading materials?
No, I think you'll be surprised, and I mean this in the nicest way. Everybody grasp your pearls. So if you're going to be offended, go ahead and prep yourself. The dyslexia training for most state dyslexia providers is 8 hours. I'll just let that lay there. 8 hours. If that's what you need to be a robust dyslexia teacher, then that is the teacher that you're getting. Even though dyslexia for certain students, the acuity of it rises to the level of being in special education, dyslexia curriculum is a general ed curriculum. And I know I just hurt some people's feelings, but that's okay. It's okay.
Can the teacher create social and emotional goals on my child's IEP without having an FBA?
Yeah, you can have social emotional goals without FBA, sure.
What is an FBA?
It's a functional behavior assessment. So it's an evaluation that we do so we can try to pinpoint the root cause of the outcome. So every outcome has a root cause. And if we don't know what started it, we can't work on mitigating it.
Who do I reach out to if you are the advocate for a student of mine regarding next year's inclusion?
Well, you would reach out to your creator and say, I would like to ask forgiveness for everything I've done wrong. And I'm so excited to work with the great Karen Mayer, International Global Life Changer Special Education Boss. Yeah, I think that'll cover it, right?
Absolutely.
That's it, yeah.
What are your opinions on the new special education qualification for secondary SPED teachers? Have you heard of it?
Don't know what you're talking about. Federal law hasn't changed, so that might be something a state's trying to slide in. But federal law hasn't changed about what requires special education services being delivered by.
ASD, DMDD, complex PTSD, IEP via school district. Remotely approved by a psych school didn't check on him. What can I do?
I'm not really sure I understand that question.
Me
They're
neither.
at a psych school?
Approved by psych school and didn't check on him.
I'm not really sure what the question is.
Okay, we'll check and see if more comes in.
Yeah.
Should an IEE be a totally independent eval or directly address the issues in school evaluations?
So an IEE is an independent educational evaluation. It will have to be tied to the evaluation the school already did because you're building from that. But yeah, so they're not exempt of each other, but it's an independent educational evaluation by somebody that doesn't work for the school district.
Okay, get ready to clutch the pearls. What can I do if they took stuff off of my child's IEP and forged my signature without my knowing?
I would address it with the principal. Looks like somebody forged my signature, which is fraudulent. We'll need to have a meeting in the next 5 business days to address it.
Is there a law regarding how many para-educators are to be in a class with 10 behavioral teenagers?
No, that was just in a meeting. We'll just say the East Coast. That narrows it down, doesn't it? There was 1 teacher, 7 kids, and 7 paraprofessionals. Ridiculous. So some, in some states we just throw paras at the problem, and it's instead of using that money more responsibly and providing instruction and support for the educators. And I think a lot of parents, they want a para, they want a one-on-one. That's not real life. Your child is not going to have a para when they're 25. So make sure that the para, if that's what your student needs, is for a specific need.
I would like to take the 2-day and the mastermind. I need to do the 2-day prior. When is the mastermind?
Yeah, so the mastermind, the only group mastermind we're having this year starts July 27th.
Okay. What is the benefit of filing with FERPA about missing records other than whistleblowing?
Hopefully FERPA will breathe down the neck of your district and you'll get all of your records. If you don't file, if you don't complain, then don't complain, there's not change.
Can learning support students and emotional support students be combined in the same special education classroom?
So those aren't eligibilities. Those are things that we've named children and we've grouped them. You don't want to know what I call that. So children are listed by their eligibility, and then we write an IEP based on their characteristics of their eligibility. So I wouldn't imagine that the needs of a learning student that has a learning deficit would be the same as students that have identified behavioral needs, but I wouldn't know if I didn't know those children.
So we have update from Danny. It says the remote school approved by the psychiatrist and the school district did not check on my son. What can I do?
So if it wasn't an out-of-district placement, the school doesn't have an obligation. But if they were placed there by the school district, county, or city, the student is still the district's student. So it's their job to oversee and make sure that the IEP is implemented with fidelity.
A parent whose child has an IEP has asked for a retention for her son. The IEP team has all agreed it's in the best interest of that child, but the school administrator is fighting the mom and saying no. What do we do now?
I mean, if you can't get it done at the table, I would ask for a state facilitator if your state has that. They usually have some sense and are able to talk calmly to all parties and hopefully keep all parties calm. After that, you need to use one of your 6 procedural rights for dispute resolution options.
What can teachers do when the CST director makes unilateral decisions for all testing and eligibilities?
File a state complaint on educator misconduct.
Excellent. Mm-hmm. My daughter will be starting 11th grade her junior year. She is reading at about a 5th grade level. What can I do to help?
What can you do to help, or what can the school do to help? Those are 2 different things. So I would certainly ask if the school has a program called Learning Ally or a program called Kurzweil. They're both really robust assistive technology in helping kids read. And then I would ask to make sure she had proper reading support.
What do I do? I got a PWN, and whomever took the notes has misleading information on the PWN.
So it's not misleading, it's a lie. I know we don't want to say it. It's either the truth or it's a lie. There's no such thing. Misleading is a lie. So I have one of those sitting right here, and I'm going to file a state complaint because it's all a lie. It's just to cover the rear ends of the school district, and it's gross. So if you're not going to file a state complaint, don't expect any change.
Who My son's 504 was to be reviewed back in January, and I emailed them several times in April and May, and it still is not complete.
So I assume that your school's out for the summer. So I'd ask for an IEP meeting as soon as you get, a 504 meeting as soon as you get back. And there should be a 504 director at the district level. Reach out to them over the summer.
Somebody wants you to know that they are wearing the same exact glasses as you, and theirs are purple, and they love you.
Oh, that's fantastic. Where did you get them? I cannot find out where I got these glasses. I got them so long ago. So please remind me of where I got them. Not that I need more glasses, but you got to match the outfits.
The last statement regarding an adult life is something a lot of my clients don't comprehend. Oh, I'm sorry, that was a statement, not a question. I am a new teacher. Should I keep notes about how I am differentiating and following an IEP every day?
Nope, differentiation has nothing to do with IDEA. We can all differentiate completely different and serve the student at the highest level. You need to collect data on the IEP goals and implement them once a week, and you need to make sure that you're tracking the implementation of your accommodations.
My child's IEP did not mention her bullying online. What can I do?
Bullying is not part of an IEP. An IEP is an individualized education program. It's a program that we have to deliver to the special education student. Bullying is an administration issue. And somebody asked if I can repeat the reading program I mentioned. Yeah, so that's two things. It's Learning Ally, ALLY, which most schools have them, and anybody that has struggle reading has access to them. If you don't believe me, look at their website. And then Kurzweil. Kurzweil is really the gold standard of reading intervention, KURWEIL, Kurzweil. They're both amazing.
Clarification on the PWN. It says the IEP mentioned that mom did not respond to the teacher.
Tell me the question again.
I believe it was if the PWN was a lie or they lied in the PWN, and that they mentioned that the teacher, mom did not respond to the teacher when she indeed did.
Yeah, so the PWN is not a retelling of the IEP meeting. A PWN, which we have a training on, a series in Special Education Academy, there's 7 legal components of it when a district chooses to decline doing something or doing something, and then there are legal obligations around them. So it's not the notes from the meeting.
I don't know what this means, but I think it's a great thing. Special Education Bosses Fan Club has completed this first stage of the club quest and unlocked club cheers. All fans are now able to send it in to celebrate. Yay!
Yes, congratulations, Rachel Moe. Look at you. This is amazing.
What do you recommend when goals aren't being achieved according to the progress reports, but the school doesn't want to change anything?
Well,
the assessments show progress. Sorry.
The assessments show progress, but the goals don't?
Correct.
Well, we're charged with writing an IEP to enable the student to make progress, not give an assessment to enable a student to make progress. So if I said that, I would say, here's the problem. I have a new sound for y'all. Isn't that amazing? I'll link this in the bio. Is this the best? I'm sorry. I just had to get it. It's my sad trombone. Yeah, I know you guys all want it, don't you? It's fun.
You might need another sound effect for this one. Is it really true that students have to be 2 grade levels behind in order to qualify for shortened assignments?
What the Hello Kitty are you talking about? I think there's a website called makeitupasigo.com. Can you just see if that's available? Or if not, I'll buy it. Yeah. We just make stuff up.
My child has good grades, but has many behavioral issues. I was told he does not need any testing. He just needs to listen and follow directions. But we've tried that approach. It is not working. What are my next steps to take to help my child for real?
Address it. So don't do that is not addressing something. So grades have nothing to do with, oh, that's me. Grades have nothing to do with whether or not you need an IEP. I don't know where this is coming from. Do y'all hear that?
I do hear that.
Okay, it's somebody trying to reach me desperately. So anyway, I don't know how to make that stop. Hold on, let me see if I can make that stop. It was very sad. That was my daughter. So y'all say hi, Paige.
Hi, Paige.
She's not there, but at least we have proof that we acknowledged her.
Absolutely. When I grow up, I want to be like you. How do I become an advocate?
Yeah, so join Special Education Academy for sure. That we meet every Monday night, and take the 2-day intensive. It will change your life. You've been taught the what, the when, and maybe the why, but you've never been taught the how and the way that we teach it and deliver it that's applicable and actually usable the next day after the training.
You were live this morning, and I heard you say you went to Washington and you're going back. Why? Question mark.
Because I am going to bring about change for special education. We are planning on, I'm going to speak before Congress on educational needs, needs for special education, and needs for enforcement, triggers and sanctions to districts that knowingly do not implement IDEA. So, and we want to bring about appropriate supports and services and funding for students with disabilities. And we want to make sure that if you're taking money for students with disabilities, you actually spend it on those students instead of taking your district to some sort of training, at Harvard. So we will be back in Washington, D.C. on the Hill, the 14th, 15th, and 16th of July. If you would like to come see us, I'm sure Rachel is going to set up a meet and greet in the lobby. Aren't you, Rachel? She is now. She had no idea. Yeah, would you guys like to come see me in Washington, D.C.? Would y'all like that? Are you in the neighborhood? I mean, you probably can just drive up, right? There's no parking. You'll have to park in another state, but you can certainly drive up.
A high school student with an IEP for ADHD and bipolar in residential treatment, SUD, IEP states medical placement, ready to transition back, but no real options to assure sobriety. What are the options to stay in sober living?
Sobriety is not part of an IEP.
Okay. School is suggesting virtual for my 2E student. We do not want it. Can you recommend placement options?
So here is the problem and the greatest struggle of all the students that we serve in special education. It's students that are 2E. They're twice exceptional. The district is obligated to teach, IEP is that you have equal access to general ed. There is no obligation of any district, county, or city in America ever to deliver something more than general education, and that's what students with 2E need. And so unfortunately, I've never found a setting in public school that fully meets the needs of a student that's twice exceptional.
Is it typical for a team to promote mediation? I always thought the districts tried to avoid it.
Oh no, I love mediation. I love a chance for some people with some sense to sit down, talk about the facts, fess up, clean it up, and make it up. Yeah, I'm a big fan of mediation. I'm a certified mediator in Texas.
We have Learning Ally and Kurzweil for reading. Can you recommend any good math programs for students with gaps?
I don't know. I struggle with math. The only math that I know is BOGO, and I still struggle. Isn't that really just 25% off? We talked about this last weekend. I am the last person on the planet you want to ask about math. So, but we will look into that and we'll try to get you an answer for next week.
What is the limit in Alabama for a self-contained resource special education teacher?
There are no limits in IDEA. There's no limits in state administration codes. There might be some suggestions, but again, you would have to quantify the student's unique circumstances. You might have 20 kids in a dyslexia class that are a cakewalk, and you might have one behavior kiddo that needs 3 adults. So it just depends.
What if a school admits to not following an IEP because the student isn't, quote unquote, top priority?
Oh, thank you for your honesty. Show me the compensatory time.
Ooh, I hit the button.
Not the
Is
button.
it okay for a para to also take on caseloads of students and be the SPED teacher?
No, that would be illegal. And so this morning we had 2 lives on the great TikTok, and we talked about this supplement. In the bottom, there's a little orange code. If you click on that button and you send us a message, we'll send you this resource, working with paraprofessionals. And then if we just go to page 7, let's all go to page 7, shall we?
Yes.
And page 7 says non-negotiables. And then it says a paraprofessional may not engage in the following activities: develop lesson plans, introduce material, provide directed teach portion of the lesson, select materials for the implementation of the lesson, assign final grades, be responsible for any IEP related responsibilities without the supervision of a certified special educator, not supervising the paperwork, supervising the para. They cannot develop IEP goals and objectives. They cannot design classroom management systems, and they cannot be responsible for determining or reporting student progress or IEP goal progress. Wow. So no matter where you live in the United States, if you click that orange button at the bottom and fill it out, we'll send you this resource, because when you know better, you could do better. Isn't that right, Rachel? Rachel's getting together the meet and greet right now.
Special education teacher only worked one time with the student all year and falsified data. What should I do?
And what I would do is file a state complaint. Yeah, fraud is a problem.
When there are 2 classrooms that aren't joined, what can I do? I have severe cognitive elementary kids.
But why do the classes have to be joined?
That's a great question. I will look to see if there's...
Yeah, so somebody said, where do I fill out? So in the bottom, do you guys see that little orange box in the bottom? It's on the left or the right? Wait, is it on the left or the right, Elena? It's on the left, on the left, on the left. If you fill that out, wherever your left is, that'll send us a direct message, and we'll get you this. And then we'll also get you a link to get this book. You heard of this book? This is The Gospel of Special Education. So this is a book of requirements, not a book of suggestions. This is the federal law. And if you want to get this book, you just go to Special Education Academy, go to trainings, and go to the very bottom, and our bookshelf is there, or it's in any of our links. So we'll get you this brochure on guidance on working with paraprofessionals and the federal law. Would that be helpful? Because how many of you guys have ever seen the federal law in your school district? I mean, how important would it be? I mean, it just started 50 years ago. I bet they've seen manuals for how to do a good volleyball plan, which is important. Volleyball is important.
Many people say they will be printing out the paraprofessionals information.
You give them the pow. This is the best guidance, and the law is the law. No state gets to change it. So the shenanigans that people are told at meetings are redonkulous. They are just ridiculous. Yeah. Oh, by the way, if your district is a district of innovation, guess what? They still have to follow federal law. Yeah. I know they told you they didn't, right? Liars. Liars. And if you hear that in the meeting, you do this. Yeah, you just give them the screaming goat. Isn't that right, Cindy?
Absolutely.
Yeah, or if they've committed a crime, you just... Yeah. These are new things that I'm taking to my IEP meetings. A screaming goat, a horn, and the trombone. I'll put all that in the bottom. Yeah.
My daughter didn't receive her minutes last school year. I just found out. Can I ask for those minutes?
Yeah. Well, they're required to. You're not asking for. We're not at Chili's asking for honey mustard. They're required to implement the IEP. So they either failed your child and denied your child FAPE, or they delivered it. So since they denied them FAPE, they still have to deliver it. Somebody said, can you put the screaming goat on the website? Yes. Yes, the screaming goat is now going with me everywhere, especially like when I'm in line at... Did you know Taco Bell? Let me digress. Taco Bell is using AI to order. It's difficult enough ordering at Taco Bell, but anyway, I just go, put somebody on the speaker. Okay, I just had to... Have y'all been to the Taco Bell?
Do they come to the speaker?
When I say that, yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, because
Good choice.
the AI lady can't change your order. You can get number 7, but you can't change it. You can't get extra tomatoes, no extra cheese. You get it the way it comes. Oh, no, ma'am. No, ma'am.
That wouldn't be artificial intelligence then. It would
It's
be
artificial.
stupidity.
Artificial irritant. That's what it is.
Can a para take a group out for homework into the hall after the general education teacher finishes instruction?
Well, homework doesn't occur at school, does it? It occurs at home. I mean, if the kid's home is in the hall, I guess they could. Wah, wah.
How often should I get IEP progress updates? I didn't get one for my high school students with their report card.
So the IEP progress report is required to come out the same time as grades come out. So if you're on a 6-week schedule, a 9-week schedule, a semester schedule, semesters, whatever, that's when the IEP progress has to come out.
What is the difference between the academy and what we're doing right now?
The academy is specific training on federal law in series, and then we open it up for questions. It's very different.
What is the ratio of students without IEP 504s to the students with until considered special education?
What is the percentage of schools in America? What is the percentage of special ed students in America? It's 12.9%.
What do you do when you request a one-on-one for your child to stay on task, and instead of a one-on-one, they added a third teacher?
Yeah, a one-on-one doesn't make your child stay on task. There's a reason that your child is not on task. If you need somebody over them, tapping them every 3 seconds to stay on task, are they really staying on task? No. So you need to find out what the function of that inability to initiate, sustain, or complete a task, and then address it that way. But a one-on-one that's not the right remedy.
The screaming goat is noted to be very effective by many people in the comments.
I know. What if I had a real screaming goat? That would be better.
Child's ARD committee said they would do what needs to be done, but wouldn't put it into specifics in the IEP.
Well, thank goodness if you're in an ARD meeting in Texas, you're recording. So make sure you get that in the recording. Yeah, we're gonna put in the IEP, Muffin. It's a requirement. If you don't put it in the IEP, how would people know how to implement it? Goofball. They're just goofballs, I tell you.
Well, it is summer. You can get tons of pool noodles if needed.
Oh, that's right. This is time to stock up on those pool noodles. Ba-bam.
What do you think of homework for a student with cerebral palsy who gets tired after school?
I think homework is terrible for all students in America in public school. There is no academia data that's ever supported that instruction after an 8-hour day has any long-term benefit for a student ever, 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 ever. It's goofy. Do your job, teach them at school, let them do their work. That's it. Let them go home. As my mama would say, when they get home, let the stink blow off of them. Like, can you imagine going to work for 8 hours and then you got to work some more when you get home? Let's not do that.
It's every mother in America.
All right?
My child is diagnosed with ADHD, autism, and anxiety, and they dismissed her from all her services. Make that make sense.
I won't make that make sense. I won't be doing that. The only thing that would make sense is if you have some great behavioral and or medical intervention that's mitigating the acuity of it.
Can a nurse approve a one-on-one for a child with a diapering plan?
Why would you need a one-on-one for a diapering plan? You don't need somebody to diaper you 400 minutes a day. You don't need that. You would need that whenever you needed to be changed. We have to stop throwing paras and one-on-ones at kids. It's not helping them to be adults.
My kid's school said she didn't get her minutes because they were understaffed. And that was a clarification, and you answered it and told
Yeah, if you're understaffed, overstaffed, side staff, we didn't hire anybody, we care, we don't care. It doesn't matter why the denial occurred. It does not matter. And it's not personal, it's business. But if I find out that one of my students had a denial of FAPE, I'm going to make the school remedy it. That's what I'm going to do. But 99% of people will never know that the special ed was not delivered.
Someone said, if we can't teach them everything in the 8 hours, maybe we need to just let them be.
Yeah, maybe they just need to go home and, watch Gilligan's Island and, have a glass of Tang with a bunch of pickles. That's what I did growing up. None of y'all even know what that is. Do y'all know what Tang is? No. Do you guys know what Atari is? No. Do you guys know what blue laws are in Texas? Anybody know what a blue law is in Texas? So in Texas, up until the 70s, you were not allowed to shop at the grocery store on Sundays because it was the Lord's Day. The people on the Zoom that are they're all, I don't want to say they're Yankees, but I love Yankees. They're from the East Coast. Yeah, and if you went into a grocery store, there was rope in front of stuff. Like you could buy milk, and then they got rid of the blue laws and opened up malls in Texas at the end of the 70s, and that's been the downfall of America. You people out there shopping like lunatics on Sunday instead of sitting in your local house of faith. All right, I just had to get that out. Yeah. You don't remember blue laws, Cindy?
No.
Rachel, you've never heard of that, have you? That would be it would have been in your encyclopedias. Oh, Jay Kidding said they had it in North Carolina. You'll have to ask your cousins. Yeah.
Wow.
Who has time to shop anymore? I have time to shop. That reinforces me.
Yes, we need more goats. First year self-contained resource teacher. Any advice for me?
Just remember that it's about serving the kids with an exceptionality. Do the best you can to implement the IEP and, track your data. And thank you for loving and serving kiddos.
Absolutely.
Somebody said, what's a good state for kids with an IEP? Uh-huh. Yep. States are great, except for they're run by, what's the word I'm thinking of? Humans. And there's some amazing districts and some amazing states. And I would love to tell you, the best district without a doubt in Houston is Klein ISD. The best district, period. But there's about 8 million people that live here in Houston. And I can tell you about amazing other pockets of places, but I wouldn't want you to sell your house and move there because great school districts with special ed are because they've got great directors, great coordinators, great IEP leads. And if they're stink pots, they're stink pots. What makes Klein the best is they're willing to get on the phone and talk to you about the area of need and try to work it out. And they really are child focused.
What do you think of a child having an IEP and 504s as transition to pro-secondary?
What's pro-secondary? You mean post-secondary?
Oh, it probably is.
Yeah, that's pro-secondary. That's like better than JV. I don't think about it. If you need an IEP, you need an IEP. If you need a 504, you need that. So we implement that with fidelity based upon the student's need.
Wait, somebody said you have an app. Is that true?
It's true. Yeah, and I'm apt to get it out and show you, except for I'm looking at my phone. So go to the App Store. I don't know where that is. I think they have good parking at the App Store. You just pull up, go into the App Store, and look up Special Education Academy. And there'll be a little blue light bulb with a graduation hat on. Very happy to deliver all the stuff to your hand, all things special education, so you can find it right there. Is there good parking at the App Store, Cindy?
It is. It's virtual parking.
Oh, and everybody gets in. There's no waiting? That's fantastic.
And there's no fee.
There's no fee. Yeah.
How do I know that my child's accommodations are actually being given?
Ask the teacher. How effective are his accommodations on his IEP? Just ask. Ask and you shall get a response. I don't know what the response will be. Yeah. Oh, they're downloading in all caps. Done. Look, she just got right into the App Store. She's pulled up.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
We will go down the rabbit trip.
Yes.
My child's documented accommodations have not come home. I asked for them to provide me a copy and then being ignored. Why?
Well, you're not due a copy of accommodation logs. You're not due that. But if you think that you need them, I would first say, why do you need them? I would assume that you need them because you think they're not being implemented, but you can always do an open records request and request them. And somebody said add the goat to the app. The goat's very popular. I love that. Okay, we'll get the goat added. Yeah.
Can my child be forced to attend virtual school or be homeschooled?
No, this is not a hostage situation. No. The school's not the boss of you. They're not the sheriff. They're not the judge and jury. Dawn said she feels like that goat.
That's all goat. I want more reading minutes for my daughter. The school said my daughter would have to attend ESY to receive that. Is this true?
You want more reading minutes during the school year?
Yes.
Well, that has nothing to do with ESY.
Okay.
Somebody said, how do we hire you? So just email us at advocate@specialeducationacademy.com. Advocate@specialeducationacademy.com.
What do I do if my child's goals, sorry.
If they're goats? Now I can't have the goat anymore.
What do I do if my child's goals on his IEP are not being achieved, so they just keep repeating the goal?
I would tell them about Andrew F., the Supreme Court decision, March 22nd, 2017, which Douglas County School District in Colorado was found problematic because they kept doing the same IEP goals. And so the Andrew F. decision, ENDREFW, is that right? ENDREWF, Andrew F. decision versus Douglas County School District. You can look that up online. Is the national standard. It says we are charged with writing an IEP to enable the student to make progress appropriate in light of their circumstances. And part of that problem for Douglas County School District is they were repeating the same goals. So to repeat the same goals is, say it with me, illegal. We're not allowed to do that. Even if we agreed to it, we're not allowed to do that. So, yes, we're going to talk about the Supreme Court decision that just came out. That's very good, Dan. I think we'll be talking about it in the Academy because it's so amazingly, fantastically juicy.
What do I do if my special education records from 2001 to 2006 were destroyed?
I don't know.
I'm new. What is the difference between an IEP and 504? Are they interchangeable?
A 504 is for an individual who has a disability. It just simply says they can't be denied their needed accommodations. It's not an education plan. You're not tracking anything. You're not teaching anything. An IEP is additionally for a student that has an identified disability, but they need education to mitigate the acuity of that.
Can you please talk more about ESY and its purpose? A lot of parents are asking it for the summer.
Yeah, so it's not summer school. It's not babysitting. It's not, so mom can have a break. ESY is for students that have documented regression on an IEP goal with a profound amount of time to recoup that skill. Or you're concerned for a loss of critical skills. And we think that without that intervention over this 9, 10, 11, 12-week break called summer, that the regression would be too profound.
Is the app different from the podcast?
Yeah, and your app to find the podcast on the app. Yeah, the app is it's the Special Education Academy home. All things Special Education Academy exist in the app. You can find the podcast on the app, but you would have to additionally download that. You don't want to miss the podcast because we have a podcast coming out tomorrow with Cindy Balcasal. She's amazing. You don't want to miss. It drops tomorrow. I think it's going to even drop like it's hot. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Florida teacher in the house. Whoop, whoop. Yeah. Yeah.
Are Catholic and private schools required to follow all IEP requirements?
They're required to follow 0 IEP requirements. They do not receive federal funds for students with disabilities.
And our last question. What if the data shows regression, but the school said the skill is not critical for extended school years, so they denied the services?
There could be some regression on the IEP goal. that wouldn't rise to the level of ESY. Like maybe you didn't make data progress on math computation with a calculator, right? Well, I'm not going to have you go to summer school to work on using a calculator. So again, it's about a skill deficit that we think without recouping, or it's just maintaining that skill, right? So there's no more slide, that they are going to, be denied FAPE. So, yep.
I fibbed. Since this person has been going all the way through, I want her to get this answer. Since my child didn't receive her minutes and I should file a state complaint, how do I do that?
So you can do one of the things. You can hire one of our advocates, one of our partners who are amazing that can do that for you, because you either do it completely right or you do it wrong. Or we have how to file a state complaint, a training on Special Education Academy. You could invest in that. But you want it filed correctly, because once you file it, it goes straight to the district attorney. So thanks, you guys. Thanks for always listening and appreciating. Thanks for all the hearts and the love and the celebration. Every day celebrate. Come on. And remember, do things in an IEP that makes me go, that was great, at the end of the meeting. Yeah. And remember, we might have to do this in the middle of an IEP meeting if it goes wrong. I'm out of control with these things, aren't I? We will put a link to all these are the IEP soundboards that you need. So mostly the screaming goat. Hopefully we do not have to bring out the screaming goat to the next IEP meeting. Remember, if we get it right for the child, we get it right for everybody. We'll see you guys in the next training.